And we're live. Hey, welcome everybody to another episode of the Operation Growth Show, number 9.
Nueve!
So, how's everybody doing? Let's start with Dr. Wiggles. Wigglers. Sorry, I keep thinking Dr. Wiggles.
Wiggle, wiggle. I don't care what you call me. Just don't call me late for dinner, Peter. I'm doing good. The weather here is doing pretty good, so everything's growing. Crops are growing. Even some farmers are getting some crops sown in, so that's a good thing. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited to be flipping here soon.
Yeah, no, excellent. I think that's definitely going to be the topic of conversation for tonight, or today, depending on where you are, of course. So, moving on then to Mystic. How are you doing, Mystic? Who's currently trying to dab?
I was running my torch, so I have myself muted. I'll have to torch it again here in a second. I'm doing pretty good. I'm hanging in there and enjoying we're starting to get a little bit warmer weather out here. I live a couple blocks from the beach, so I'm looking forward to summertime.
Very nice, very nice.
You go to the beach often? Since you're so
Do
close?
I go often? Not as often as I would like to, because I thought moving here to the beach that it would be warm. Yeah, no, it's cold a lot, and we get like a lot of fog, and so it's not always warm by the beach. That's the facade.
That is true.
And I'm anxious to be out by the beach more as it warms up. I have a family reunion planned this month on the 20th, so it's going to be at the beach. So I'm looking forward to it.
Boom, that's cool.
Excellent. And that brings us on to Northern. Northern, how are you doing, sir?
Hey guys, we're doing pretty good over here. Finally in Canada, we got some nice weather. And because we're in Canada, we might only have 2 or 3 of those every summer. So we're right in the middle of it. But
So
yeah.
It's gone.
Sorry?
So there's no snow. It's gone?
No, there's no snow. Not this month anyways. I mean, it could snow any day, though. It's one of the things. I mean, I'm sure you guys in Colorado, you know what's up with that. So,
yeah.
But
the crops destroyed last week.
Nice. Yeah, and but in terms of our grow, man, things are going pretty awesome. We got all our girls sexed up, and we got 6 females. We got 4 males.
Very
2
nice.
of the mutants, or the double heads, they're both females, and they're kicking ass. They're all in their final pots. We're just waiting for everybody else to give us the go ahead, and we're gonna flip these girls. And it looks like it's gonna be a fun grow.
Yeah, no, it's definitely looking like it's panning out. Those double-headed monsters are going to be the interesting ones to see how they come out.
Yeah, I mean, I've only grown 1 or 2 that were mutants, and I've had really good results from them. So hopefully, man, we'll get some really good stuff off of them.
Yeah, excellent. It seems like the Canadian summer is a bit like the British summer. It was like last Wednesday between 2 and 3. If you missed it.
Exactly. Yeah. But I mean, the weather today, it's probably, I don't know if you guys use Celsius or Fahrenheit, it's probably about 30 degrees today, Celsius. So
Very nice. Yeah, no, it got to a balmy 23 here, 24. So, Tanasi, how are you doing, sir? Long time no see on the show. Well, 3 weeks. 2 weeks.
It's been good and eventful, dude. Been pretty busy. Took a little mini vacation. Now we're back on the grind, dude, out here. There's a 710 Cup popping off today. We're about to go to that.
Yeah, and you're entering, aren't you?
Yep, I got 3 entries here. I don't know which one I'm going to enter yet.
Well, we're definitely going to be interested.
Say again?
We're going to be interested to know how you get on with that. You're going to have to definitely do some broadcasts.
Haha, I don't know. Sounds like it's going to be pretty busy. Pretty busy.
Well, I'd say for everyone here, best of luck in the competition. It's between you and Stoney, I believe. That's where the competition's going to be.
Stoney will be here. I don't know. I told him to come over so he can be on the show, but maybe they're still creeping in. They still have a long drive ahead of them to get here. But yeah, we'll see how it goes down.
Excellent. And Underground. So how you doing after your move all successful and bedded in?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm liking it. Everything's going good. The two that survived, they're striving and growing. So hey, as long as we keep everything in check, I think we'll be all right.
Well, excellent, excellent. So that does, I mean, obviously the topic of conversation at the moment is when are we going to flip these, or when are you guys going to flip these all over into flour? Which then, I guess, is there anything that everybody does before flipping into flour?
Never.
So, is there any special changes in feeding regimes that you do? Does anybody do like a blackout period?
No, I just give them enough soil, change the pot, flip it.
So you going to transplant just before flipping?
Yeah, if I transplant, I try to do it 2 weeks before the flip. I'm gonna do it. That's what I like to do. Sometimes it doesn't always flow out that way, but transplant it 2 weeks before, and then I'll flip it.
Anybody else? Anything special that they do before flipping into flour?
Yeah, I do the dark period for 24 hours. I do a 24-hour dark period, then I flip.
What's the?
And how do you find that works for you? Hey, Dale, nice to see you there. How does that work out for you? I mean, do you notice the difference in doing that as to not doing it?
Yeah, it actually reduces some of the stress on the stretch for some reason. It keeps them a little bit shorter than, and that's what I need for my space right now.
Does anybody know how tall these girls are going to get? Like,
yeah, I think that's part of this exercise.
We're testers, right?
I think mine, out of the testers I've ran before and stuff, these are not the tallest ones I've come across. So I'm expecting a small to medium stretch on mine.
all right.
That's what I would say.
Well, I know I've got mine all caged up. I run in tomato cages if I don't do a scrog or I didn't want to do the bamboo stakes this time. I needed to really confine some of the girls because I have six of my other moms that I had previous that I'm running this time, and I also have 6 Jack Herreras that really fucking stretch. Excuse my language; it's a family thing. That really stretch that I'm running. I'm running some tester soil for Subcool and green bicycles. So I'm doing that at the same time. So I'm flipping 18 girls at the same time in the same tent. So yeah, I had to cage them all up. We did some super cropping on them all. Did some topping. Did a lot of leaf stripping to expose bud points. They're already transplanted into their final homes. My moms are in 5 gallons, I think. 3 gallons. The Jacks are in 5, and the Jamaican Bobsleds are in 7s. So they're all 30 inches tall or taller. Yeah, they're pretty freaking big in there. They're taking up a lot of space. It will be a nice harvest. And some of them, oh my God, they got the dankest freaking smell. They're like a freaking, almost a cheesy smell. Really kind of rank, dank, but yummy. When you say something rank and dank, but it's yummy.
Very nice, very nice.
Did you top yours at all, Mystic?
Have a what?
Did you have the tallest ones? Did you top yours at all?
Yeah, we've topped them and we've super cropped them, and they're still some of the ones that I super cropped. They were like, yeah, they went straight back up. They just made a little knuckle and kept going. A couple of them have a bend, but a couple of them are like, yeah, fuck you. We're just gonna keep going.
So what I'd like everybody to do before just before you flip it, or at the point of flipping, if everybody takes a measurement of the plant, the height they're at just before we flip, and then again measure them at the point where they get chopped down, so that we could actually then calculate what the stretch ratio is on average for them.
I'm measuring the width and the height. I'm not really doing sock circumference. I might start doing that now because some of them got some really fat socks on them.
Does everybody sex theirs?
Yeah,
I do.
So I got 6 females and 4 males.
Yeah, we got 6 as well.
That seems to be almost the ratio for most. I think it's come out about 6-4.
Really? Okay. Well, they said I had 6 and 3.
I think I got
Before I
the
shot
opposite.
down the males started showing their sexes. I had a male that was showing his like balls on a weird part of the stem. It was kind of weird. So yeah, I had to chop him down. I needed the room, so I had to get those guys to go. And the other females haven't really showed their sex yet, but they're gonna go into flower no matter what. So.
And so the testing facility said that they would sponsor it for probably the next run, or
Okay, so I briefly talked with the guy in an email, and I need to talk to him on the phone. He said he was interested in sponsoring it, depending how much was needed, and like how big the growers they'd be sponsoring are, and how big the platform is, and such. So we could discuss that more offline.
Yeah, no, cool. And I've got
I invited him to come on to the show too, if he ever wanted to.
And there's a Dutch organics company, or organics, let me be careful. I said there's a Dutch nutrient company that are interested in sending everybody some samples to try out for the final flowering stage, like a boost sort of thing, I believe it is. I need to double check with them exactly. Believe it's a micro, they did mention if you're using a dripper system, it needs to be the bigger drippers because the very small drippers will get blocked up. So I believe it's some kind of organic micro feed that is permitted in the US according to them. So I'll get the final details. What they did ask for is if everybody could let me know how much you're watering on average in terms of volume, and for how long you think you'll be doing that over the flowering period, so that they can make sure they send out a big enough sample size so that it will actually last the full cycle, and they don't send out just, not enough.
Hell yeah, I water every day, 3 times a day. I need as much as possible.
Pretty much.
Around 300 gallons per water.
Small oil tanker pulling up.
Got a water truck delivered every day.
And yourself, Northern, what do you do when it comes to flipping over from vegetable state to flower? Anything that you do in particular, like nutrient change or?
Basically, I don't do anything with the light schedule besides flip them 12 to 12. We might try the 24-hour dark period if that keeps them a little bit low. Other than that, I kind of feed them some humic acid and molasses. I usually water molasses every single time in the flower period. I don't know if it adds anything, but I mean, I'm getting some, I guess, Santa's beard on the outside of my fabric pot, so I guess the microbes are pretty happy inside the soil. So yeah, I just feed them molasses and a little bit of humic acid, and they seem to be just pushing along just fine. We use also this line in Canada. It's called Green Gaia, and they're kind of it's an organic soil amendment, and we use 284 in bloom with a little bit of 444 mixed in just to give them some more nitrogen. But yeah, that seems to work out really good for us.
And so the molasses that you're using, is it one specifically purchased from a hydro shop at all? Is it a specific brand, or is it just blackstrap, sulfur-free?
Yeah, unsulfured organic molasses is what we use.
Yeah, the big thing being unsulfured.
Yeah, big thing. And it's like we're kind of limited to what we can get for mycorrhiza in Canada. They always seem to get pinched at the border, and the Canadian law makes it pretty hard to import anything. So we're kind of limited to what we could produce in Canada. And it's kind of a budding industry right now, obviously, because now we're legal across the country. So I suspect we're going to get more products coming to the market that will kind of help the organic growers. Especially in Canada, there's a lot of people that are growing now, but they don't really understand, I guess, organic growing. So I mean, you get a lot of closet grows and guys using Miracle Grow and all that type of stuff. So it's going to be nice to see see what happens in the future, and hopefully we get more options available for us that want to kind of be truly organic and grow it. So.
No, excellent. Yeah, the Canadian situation seems a bit strange at times.
Yeah, it is. Tell me about it. I mean, we just had one of our, I guess, bigger retail chains in Canada. They got all their product pulled off the shelves because they may have grown some of their product in an unlicensed facility. So yeah, just this is stuff like that. And I mean, the rules here they're kind of prohibited, and we call it Prohibition 2.0. We don't really call it legalization because now we can get pulled over by a police officer with no um, due cause, right? And they have the power to administer roadside sobriety tests based on a opinion of an officer, right? And it's not really. So I mean, there's going to be a little bit of growth period, and hopefully it all works out in the end. But it almost seems, in some cases, things were better before legalization, quote unquote.
That is a strange scenario to be in.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and so training whilst in flower, does anybody continue any sort of training program, low stress training, or is that it? You flip it and leave it alone?
We'll
Yeah,
probably
that's
do a
what
little
she
bit of super cropping, right? We're going to try to get our bud sites all good and covered in light. So we usually use a combination of LST and super cropping just kind of to branch out the canopy a bit more. That being said, these plants are getting a little bit out of hand, so we don't know exactly how much room we're going to have to play and to train them, but I'm sure we'll be able to handle it.
I'll be tying them up as needed. I have some like yo-yo type cables that I can use inside my tent to help try to pull them down. Do a little LST if I need to. I don't know about super cropping in flower, but we will be defoliating as needed, exposing bud points, and we're also going to be using a PK booster. We're going to be using a Green Jeans formula for flower on the bobsleds.
Excellent. And yeah, well, that brings up the point that the boosters. Does everybody use boosters? What is the opinion on using boosters?
Boosters? What are we talking about?
Things like camera boost, I guess. I mean, the PK boost, maybe. Yeah, I guess PK boost is.
PGR?
Well, PGRs. It's getting into a dodgy game. Now I'm thinking more along the lines of stuff like Canna Boost. I guess Winter Frost is probably another one.
No, I just feed teas.
Yeah, straight microbes in water and tea.
Only boost my plants are gonna get, I might put them up on a little boost tray or something.
Say again?
The only boost my plants are getting, I might put them on a little stool or a little boost chair or something.
Maybe a worm casting tea. That'd be the only boost they're gonna get. But no, we using straight microbes, down to earth amendments for teas with worm castings. It's some compost. That's it.
Yeah, I'm trying to find something.
And Dan says Canna Boost is just a shelf stable FPJ. I'm gonna say
Why
it like
not just use some FPJ
FPJ.
for the win, baby.
All right.
Ha
Sorry, just looking through some of the comments there quickly to see if there was anything different. Some people doing some interesting things there. Simple sugars. What about alfalfa? Yeah, I see that crops up quite a bit.
I put it in the super soil. You gotta have that.
And that is predominantly
Plants.
for which element is that being used for?
You want me to tell you the NPK scale? Is that what you want to see?
Just curious. I mean, what is it that alfalfa brings to brings to the party?
So it's a 10.1.
Bring it.
Chitin.
Bring it
You want the chitin.
enzymes.
You want the chitin from the alfalfa. You want the
Chitin.
chitin.
A
That's what you
chitin.
want.
Hi, Fumidor.
Right, Cantle. Cheers, guys.
What's up, Fume? He's
What's up,
actually
everyone?
got the bobsled himself.
I have one bobsled, one female bobsled going to flower. So I was like, I don't know, am I eligible? Whatever. I guess I have more than most people do. So one bobsled. I
That
didn't
was
pop a 10-pack. I only popped 5. So good or bad odds, I don't know. I've started to look for males. So actually I got 4 males. So I don't know. Maybe that's good odds for me. I don't know. But I ended up calling those males.
You
But,
said a 5-pack?
5-pack. I
Okay.
actually had bad luck on a couple of 5-packs. Bad luck or good luck. 4 boys on 2 different 5-packs, on nerds and on bobsled.
Wow.
Anyway.
You
Cheers,
only
guys.
want that when you got too much going on.
Well, like I said, ironically, I have been looking for males, so I still have one of the nerds that I'm looking at, one of the male nerds. But actually, the nerds, I don't think I got any females. Now that I think about it, I think it was 5 out of 5. Anyway,
So if you're looking for males, that's damn good luck.
well, right, yeah. And so then you get to, I guess, you get to start looking for what you want. Like I didn't actually like any of those. I did stem rubs and stuff. I like one of the nerds because it's like really stinky and squat and stuff. But we'll see. We'll see if that's the one. It might be like the cuvee that I just popped. Nasi knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. I got the sugar tits and that cuvee F2.
Oh my goodness, both of those.
Woo!
Yep.
That'll be nice. But I'm excited about the bobsled too, because these dudes, I've done a lot of the BadgersDank and subpools, and these are the ones that I've seen stretch the least, which I thought was not. I thought they would stretch being a Jamaican hash plant. They
Right.
go tall. Like Mystics is super tall.
Yeah, like these are really stretched. So I'm trying to think back. I've done a lot of sub cool stuff, but these ones stretched really big from the start.
Yeah, that'll be the next bit that I'll try and get ready for the next show. I'll plot out the growth rates that people have been logging and see what we can get from that. That could be quite interesting.
Or like maybe compared to the charts to see if her room is different from my room, keeping them short.
Yeah, mine have been pretty squat. All of them, the males and the females both. I had one male that was pretty lanky, but even he stayed squat. He just kept throwing arms out. That was actually a good candidate for breeding too, to be honest.
Did you have anything weird like a double sprout root or any like mutations?
Nope, nothing like that.
And I just mutant like everybody else did.
The one plant that shot out like a double branch, it's a female, and the one that had the double sprout, it's a female.
Oh, those are gonna produce really well, huh? You think?
I do believe there'll be something special.
Nice.
And that's interesting. One of my weirdos was a female too, but that one that I had with that turned like the flat stalk and like topped itself, it turned out a male. I only got like maybe two for sure females, but there's another one that may be a female.
Yeah, that spade one that you got, that was quite strange.
Yeah,
I have seen that happen on other people's plants in the past.
I might actually just put that outside because it's a male. I might put it outside and let it just see what it does because it's so cool.
Excellent. So then what else are during flower, what light cycles, changing of the lights? Does anybody switch out their lights when they go over to flower? Anybody going from metal halide to HPS, for example, or is everybody kind of sticking to the same lights beginning to end?
I'll make a
flower.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Tanasi.
No, you go ahead, man.
Okay. In my flower chamber, I have I'm running 3000K and 4000K on the LED side, so that's what I'm gonna put them on, so that way they can get a little bit of both.
Damn, that's high power.
Well, I'm trying to catch up with y'all big dogs.
Okay.
Nice. And yourself, Tanasi?
I was just gonna say I'm ready to get rid of my HPS. I was gonna make a bold statement, and I just harvested an LED room, primo badass shit. The HPS is slacking, dude. It's not as primo as it used to be.
What are you running, the single bulb still or the double-ended?
Single bulb, super.
Yeah, I think they say those. Although I don't know, the new single endeds, the Hortilux and stuff, they have nice spectrum and stuff. So I'm not going to mess with that. It's just like the efficiency and all that stuff. It's kind of behind the times. I think they say the double endeds are super hot. I really like CMH, to be honest. So if you're thinking about new fixtures, they're reasonable and they make dank ass herb.
That's what I used to veg in, but
Mm.
I don't
Good
know.
veg lights, by the way. Yeah, people don't realize it.
The LEDs
Yeah, I run this.
pushed out some weight.
Yeah, I run a CMH also, the 630.
Mm.
That there it does good, but it just runs hot. I don't like how hot the temperatures run,
Super
so that's
hot.
why I'm about to switch out. Yeah, I'm running switch out to all LED.
Every one of the technologies, people don't realize, every one of the technologies makes growing is a series of tiny choices, just like driving is a series of tiny choices.
Yeah.
Every single one of them, turn left, turn right, signal light, all this stuff. And so CMH light, it pushes the heat down. HPS also pushes the heat down. But a lot of HPS lights, you can get the glass hood so you can vent it off so people don't realize, oh yeah, it's putting the heat down. They get a new light that can't do that, like a CMH, and it burns their plants on the bottom. Whereas LEDs, it pushes the heat up. It's really interesting how things just, stuff like that will change how you circulate your area, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I have a low ceiling. I have like a 7-foot ceiling. It's a finished basement. So
Does
anything,
anybody
I have no distance to grow.
There you go.
does anybody use air diffusers?
Say it again?
Does diffuser, as opposed to using oscillating fans, taking tips from. So they use like ceiling mounted air diffusers blowing the air out, and they'll create a much more sort of even distribution of air around the environment.
Well, that would distribute the CO2 and stuff, but would it help the branches kind of move around? Would it release some of the sweat off the leaves? One of the reasons why you have the circulation along the leaves is because we're making an artificial jungle environment, and the leaves literally sweat on each other. So I don't know. I'd worry about that. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know about that too.
Yeah, well, the thing about the diffusers is they work very well in keeping a sort of constant air in the entire environment. So you can tune them. I mean, you get different ones tuned to do different things. So depending on if you're dealing in a commercial environment, I would say you could actually say to the HVAC company, look, I need 2 meters a second air movement at this height. And they can dial them in so that they will give you that at that specific height that you're looking for. Because one of the things about oscillating fans when you get into a bigger environment is the actual effective distance of an oscillating fan isn't that far. And when you get 6 feet away from it, suddenly you're not feeling the effect of that fan anymore. And usually people have them all strung up around the outside of the grow because it's easy. You can mount them on the wall. It makes sense. And the thing sitting slap bang in the middle is getting very little air movement all of a sudden.
That's where all those microclimates come from in warehouses and stuff. Yeah, for real.
Yeah. If you look at some of the, it's like blowing air from underneath as well to help keep air movement and circulation going. And if you're using CO2, having fans on the floor blowing up helps to circulate more of the CO2 around the environment as well, because it's all just sinking straight to the bottom.
I was just going to touch on that. So in my room, I basically have two 3,500 CFM floor fans, and they blow straight to the ceiling. So they're almost like a diffuser, in a sense. It hits the ceiling and then it disperses along the ceiling. And my plants, every one of them are just dancing along and, doing the little jig. It's a pretty big room. It's about 10 by 20, the whole room. So... And it's basically, it blows up and it just comes down and around the room, and the whole room will dance.
I like it when the room dances.
Oh yeah, I mean, for real. I call it doing the wiggle. They're all doing the wiggle.
Shit.
I just bumped up 400 more watts above the Jamaican Bobsleds, and then when we flip the flower, there's going to be 400 additional watts turned on. So there'll be 800 more watts going above them. And I will be changing the light schedule from 18/6 to 12 and 12, right? Huh?
Yes.
Oh, 11 and 13, excuse me. 11 and 13.
Do you do that the whole cycle?
Huh?
Do you run it 11, 13 for a certain amount of time, or you do that the whole cycle?
The whole cycle, the whole flower cycle.
Interesting. I mean, that's usually a trick that I've seen people do with sativas because of the tropical environment that they're traditionally coming from. Their day light cycles they don't really shift that much, so they tend to be pushed into the 13 dark, 11 light. Is a more effective one for them. And does anybody use far red pucks? Sorry.
Yes, we're using far red. That's why we do that.
Yeah, with that cycle, do you see quicker finishing times?
Actually, yeah, it finished like in 8 weeks.
Yeah.
By a week, we finished. Yeah.
Now, you see, my understanding with those pucks was they put the plants to sleep quicker because of the far red light that they pump out. You're supposed to put them on like 15 minutes before. This is if we're talking about the same one. You put it on like 15 minutes before the lights go off, and it triggers the plants into going to sleep a lot quicker. And that way you can actually flip them into flower with 14 hours light, because instead of them taking 2 hours to go to sleep, which is traditionally what they're doing when you're switching them off, you can now force it to go to sleep a lot quicker. And so at the 12 hours, it's only actually going to sleep 10 hours in. Now you're getting it to go to sleep almost instantaneously when the lights go off. That's what my understanding of those pucks was. I could be wrong.
We actually leave them on 10 minutes after the lights actually go off to help the plants actually go to sleep.
Yeah, it accelerates it. It's supposed to simulate what the far red when the sun sets.
Oh yeah. Where? When? And we have 660s come on 10 minutes before the lights come on as well, to wake them up.
Interesting. Well, it'll be interesting to see the difference with that, your light cycle, that one, and others, people going straight to the traditional 12-12. I've seen people do the 13 dark towards the end to accelerate it at the very end if it's not moving along as fast as they'd like it to be.
Apparently the screen's stuck on me, guys. Sorry about it. Didn't mean it.
Well, I think Pete just has to click.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry, I forgot. Whichever one I've clicked on is the one that everybody gets. Haha.
I guess you'll see. I guess I'm joining Operation Grow. You'll see my one bobsled flower. I definitely flower under usually 11 and 13 too. Sometimes I switch it off to 10, 14. Just depends on the plants. I don't use that 10 actually is an LED, but I don't use the pucks. I might maybe get some of the pucks because I feel like some of the enhanced spectrum actually really helps with that dankness. But I swear by that shorter light cycle. And I swear by it under CMH, whatever.
We're not using CO2. That's why we do our light schedule.
I don't use CO2 either. I mean, I use ambient CO2.
And we have high intensity lights.
Yeah, I don't use CO2, but when I've used that, I've noticed that you get a quicker flowering cycle out of it.
Bro, if you're not using CO2, you better go down to the grocery store and get some goddamn CO2, because I'm telling you right now, I just ran it without CO2 and in this LED setting, and I ran it with.
What was the difference in the with the LEDs? What was the difference?
Straight up more trichome production and a terpier bud for sure. 100%. These are testers I've been running.
Okay.
These are not testers. These are strains I've been keepers I've been running for like 5 years. So I know what they can do, and I ran it to see. And I was
Hey, some of your older TGA stuff, huh?
Yeah, like a Chernobyl, the Sweet Teas, the Doctor Who.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was fucking badass with CO2. That's convinced me to actually take down all my HPS and make it LEDs in the bedroom.
Okay.
So I guess
Yeah, because you were totally against the LED for a while there tonight. So you were against the LED in the room.
I've been trying to reach that 2 pounds per light, 1,000 watt HPS. I've been doing that for like 4 years. I can't fucking touch it, dude. I've been like 1.25 pounds. Ran it in the fucking LED room with CO2. Now, I got almost 2 pounds. I got 1.75 pounds off of 500 watts. Off 500 watts. I had two 500 watts in there. There was 2 500 watts in there, but the whole room altogether gave me 3 pounds. So, which was really nice. I ain't never hit that before, dude. It was fucking some of the most terpiest shit I've ever fucking grown. It was under LEDs. It's convinced me. I've done the work. It's fucking convinced me for sure. At first, yeah, I was fucking against it.
I
Yeah, I
love
remember-
LEDs.
yeah.
I'm lately having a problem where they're not quite as like I've gotten used to the CMH so much that I now have to either adjust my growing a little bit or add a few of the 660s or the UV lights or whatever else, because like that UV from the CMH I think really makes a big difference. So anyway, I'm trying to figure that out now. But the yield and stuff, tops.
Yield's there if you do grow your plants properly for yields. Now you got a lollipop high. You gotta get in there and leaf strip. You know, you're gonna have large fucking big buds. I had 0 fucking popcorn buds this harvest. It looks nasty. It's aggressive, dude. But man, you get in there early and you fucking lollipop a good almost 3/4. Not necessarily 3/4, but you're gonna have massive buds and do a leaf strip. I'll do that on like day 14.
So that's cool. So CMH has UV, right? So it causes more terpene production. So that's pretty cool. I can see that right now.
It's kind of a stress response. It's a little bit like the plant's trying to fight off a sunburn, basically.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. But then some people, then people say that the terpene profile that they get from running LEDs sometimes a bit more intense. Maybe because some of the less volatile ones aren't boiling off underneath the heat of an HPS from their infrared radiation being pumped out by the HPS.
Is that why people say run your rooms high or hot?
Yeah, because LEDs don't push out infrared radiation as much as HPS does, and so they won't be warming up the leaf surface temperature. That's why if you put an LED above a table and an HPS above a table, the table will get warm under the HPS as opposed to the LED. Well, a lot warmer, and that's because of the infrared radiation being pumped out by the HPS.
So there's less off gassing with LEDs.
Yeah, less surface, and that's why they'll say that you need to run your room warmer because the leaf surface temperature under LEDs is cooler than under HPS.
It's both the radiation and the radiant temperature. Because remember, the HPS bulb is like a heat lamp, and the only place for the heat to go is down with all the light. So you get the IR, the infrared, all the different spectrum of light, as well as just the radiant heat. Whereas with the LED, all that radiant heat goes up through the heat sinks, and you only get like light spectrum, a little bit of radiant heat, and just the tiniest little bit of UV or whatever else.
Yeah. And that's also, they still pump out the same amount of heat. They're just doing it in very different ways. As in the same wattage lights pump out the same amount of heat. Just different. Oh. So when do you have to leave for the cut, Tanasi?
I will be leaving immediately after you end this show.
Oh, this is the 4-hour special.
The holiday special. This is where
The makeup week special. I have to say I missed y'all last week.
Oh.
Yeah. So we're going to flip our plants.
Which day are we deciding?
You said a week and a half, you say?
Week from Mondays when we really need to. Which is which day?
Monday.
22nd?
Yeah, that'll be the 22nd.
Okay.
So I might just be passing through Operation Grow. I think I'm going to flip mine next week. My one plant.
Got a lot riding on one plant.
Well, it's part of a group, but
Yeah, so I guess we'll flip ours in like 10 days. Is what she says. I'm down with that. I'm cool with it.
All right, excellent. So the 22nd. Then if everybody is trying to think what we should do, do you want to create a different journal to start? You can have 2 journals running on the same space. It doesn't really matter, but they're just doing different things. So maybe you could almost sort of close off the veg journal and start the flower journal, or just keep it going for the same one. It doesn't really matter. We know what date they all flipped on, so that's fine, actually. So long as everybody does it the same. We'll put that announcement out on the channel as well, so everybody flips at the same time. Then we're good.
I'm bad about putting stuff in the journal. I have to admit, I've not been.
Guess you don't feel too bad. I was just thinking the same thing. I'm like, man, I set that all up. I don't think I put one thing in there.
I think I put like one or two things, and I've written down like the times we've measured them and shit. But like it's like every day is something different on like whether I'm like doing IPM or whether I'm watering or whether I'm feeding or defoliating. I just haven't written that stuff down.
I need to find a way of making it even easier for people to log those activities. Because that's always the catch with keeping a journal. I mean, that is the big thing, is actually filling it out and trying to figure out the way of making it as easy as possible. That's the trick.
I keep forgetting that it's there. It's just not. It's not. I'm not accustomed to that part of my routine. Like, yeah, typing. I don't really type. I do the 2-finger pat. You know. I've never said I was a receptionist or a typist.
And so, Dr. Winters, when it comes to worm castings, I'm going to assume you're a little bit of an expert on that. How do you go about using them in your grow? Do you use them? I'm assuming you do. Be surprised if you didn't.
Me personally, if I do most of what I mean, minus mix it in my soil, I do worm tea. I never top dress and then try to water it in. You'll get the most bang for your buck out of your worm tea. So I try to make a fungal dominant worm tea for flowering. You know, I basically it's a compost tea more than a worm tea anyway, because basically I'm using a fungal dominant worm casting, basically a worm casting fed with mostly mushroom compost, and then I'll usually mix in a mushroom compost with that 2-to-1, with 2 being the mushroom compost, so like 2 cups mushroom compost, 1 cup worm tea or worm castings. Your worm castings are usually high in nitrogen, so you don't want to do a ton of that for flower. So I try to lower the worm casting ratio in the tea towards flower.
How long do you brew this tea for?
You can do teas for 24, 48. Your simple sugar is going to make the time how long you brew your tea. If you use a cup of it, you know, in a certain size, you're going to go longer, you know. Like if you're doing a 5-gallon brew, like a quarter cup is going to get you a 24-hour brew, but the half cup is going to get you like a 36, but a whole cup will get you like a 48-hour brew. The microbes need sugar, and however long it takes them to eat that simple sugar is how long you're going to brew it, you know, until that peak point, basically.
Excellent. Now, another question of course, what are the biggest mistakes people have made going into flower? What's the one thing that you would warn everybody against doing that you've learned the hard way?
Defoliation is strain dependent. It's strain dependent. I will tell you this because my Blue Lotus from Mountain Organics, if you defoliate that plant, you will not get anything but a larf. You cannot stress that plant going into it. But if I have like my G13 Genius from Mr. Soul, that can go in. I can take everything off of that except for the top leaves, and I'll get huge colas and a big, like a large yield. But the Blue Lotus, yeah, defoliation is strain dependent, so take your time.
Just make sure you got really, you know, make sure you haven't got like burnt like leaves, or like make sure your plants are really good health before they go into the flower. You know, when we were starting growing, we flipped the flower that was really super healthy, and it just didn't produce, and it just runted, and it just didn't do as good as it should have.
And some other good tips coming from the chat there as well. Light leaks from Dank House. Yeah, that's always a good one to watch out for. Something that everybody's fully aware of checking properly. Go inside, close the door, see if you can see any lights coming in at least. And also the overwatering one, that's another good killer.
I've used too much kelp. I learned that the hard way once or twice. I kept getting, I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago, I kept getting nanners I even got some seeds, some full-blown pollination, frankly. And I was like, what's going on? There's no light leaks here. There's no this. I went through the whole process. Then I realized, oh my goodness, I'm using heavy kelp, soluble kelp extract into like week 5, week 6. And I talked to a couple people and they're like, dude, those hormones are stressing your plant out and causing it to herm. I stopped that and those problems went away. Because it wasn't strain specific. That's the other thing. Like if it were one strain, one plant, that'd be a different story. But it was like a whole environment.
You think it was the nitrogen, and the hormone?
No, I think it was the hormones. No, I don't think it's the nitrogen because in an organic system, I think the plants will take pretty much what the nitrogen they want. Maybe within reason, maybe you can get them a little too green if you keep pouring fish hydrolysate on them or something. But within reason, I think you can't really overdo it too much. I think it was really the hormones because those hormones, they're a little bit indiscriminate in how they work, I feel. As opposed to the nitrogen has to be physically eaten by the bacteria first. In my opinion.
That's a good tip on the kelp side. Not one I would have thought of. And most people are probably using it for the root stimulant boost that it's being used
a
for.
Wonderful product, absolutely. And it's fantastic in seed stage, early veg, even early flower. But then once the flower set is in, you really don't want you don't want the plant to push up. You really want it to push out. And so you're switching to oxygen production, all that. You don't really want it to worry about like looking for mates or any of that because it's already a female. Anyway, long story short, lay off the kelp. I don't know all the chemistry, so I don't want to make it up.
No, all good, all good. Every little tip is a handy one, that's for sure.
My best advice for going into flower would be not to put 6 plants into flower. You want to put healthy plants into flower every time. Never try to put something in there that's not healthy.
Or wait long enough for them to come back. For sure.
Yeah, let them get healthy first. Whatever it takes, as long as you put healthy plants in. You put sick plants in, for the first 2 weeks, they're not stretching like they want. You're battling back. Healthy plants.
All good tips, all good tips.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to Freeze Pipe right now. I'm using this Freeze Pipe. I don't know if any of you guys have seen these. These are so badass. I don't normally smoke flower. I'm a dabber. But smoking the Freeze Pipe makes it so cool and so, it makes it smokable.
Is it frozen? Actual frozen
It
water?
is it's a pipe that you put in the freezer. It's got like this gel inside. It's got a glycerin that's inside, and you keep it in the freezer, and you just take it out when you can see it just barely moving in there.
Yeah.
And the gel's like stuck in the glass, right? It's nowhere.
Yeah, it's in the glass. And the bowl is removable. The bowl is removable.
Like taking ice hits back in the day, folks.
Yes, it's
taking them ice hits.
Yes.
I feel like you could put a banger.
Get an adapter. Yeah, get an adapter for a
You
banger,
have
dude.
another one. Hold on. Getting grabbed. You have another one that gets hooked to a bubbler, but I want to find a plate. I want to find the right size to make a freaking nectar collector out of it. Okay. Now this is the part that I could find a custom nectar collector thing. This is the frozen part.
That's like an 18 mil.
Put water in.
All right, so I there's a guy online that has the same setup what you got, but in the top part right there, he has the V-shaped dab piece that goes off of that.
Off of this, he does a dab piece.
No, on the other piece in your hand.
On this piece.
Yes, it comes off of the top of that, the V-shaped dab.
Oh.
I don't know exactly how he's got it.
Oh, yeah, you can put a dab thing, I'm sure, on top, because there's a bowl right there on top, yeah.
Yeah, you just slide it looks like an 18 millimeter. Compared to your fingers, maybe a 14.
I'm not sure. I don't know what size that is. We're going to measure it, yes. But anyhow.
It's smoking science.
Smoking time, yes. And I just had to show off this. I'm getting ready to do a review for them. They threw in this big badass. This is the XL freeze pipe. when we bought
pretty
these
cool.
two other ones. So these are pretty badass.
I definitely thought those things were cool. I was a big bong ice guy, you know, put ice in the
I'm a
bong.
bong person. I'm totally a bong person. That's why we got the bubbler too. But it's just not the same. You don't freeze the bubbler part because you got to put water in there, and it's just not. And it kind of defeats. It doesn't. It gives you cooler hits, but not as cool as I would liked. But it gives me a way cool. You got to be careful with this pipe. You don't even know how big a heat you're getting because it's so cold. It's like
That was what was cool about the ice.
Yeah.
Take a huge rip, and then all of a sudden you were dying. You're like, oh.
Things have come a long way from college days, that's for sure. The budget's certainly gone up.
Well, have you seen how much handmade rigs cost? Like some of these, we don't even have to say the names, but some of the really fancy guys on Instagram, those rigs go for $100,000. Like tomorrow, they'll sell it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't afford that.
Crazy prices for some
Like,
crazy.
who knew they cost that much?
Well, they're putting
And then
like
you gotta smoke it.
gold and all kinds of shit inside, or opals and different kind of stones and shit
Well,
inside.
that's right. Some of the amount of work that goes into each pipe is crazy.
I mean, I respect what they do, but anything over a couple $100 is way beyond.
Right?
I always wonder
I
who's
can't
branding
trust
the pipe.
myself.
And who's going to smoke it? I mean, that's the other thing.
The
Right?
Snoop Dogs of the world, they're gonna buy them pipes. That's who's gonna
See,
buy
that's the
them.
super
Snoop
smokers. That's the guy. I think the guy that buys that, he smokes like once a year, and he's only smoking with his homies that come in from a banking convention, and he's like, guys, I got to show you my new piece.
This
So
is a
never actually does
$200
that
rig
for you.
here. This is pretty intricate. I like this one. It doesn't have a whole lot. This one is pretty badass.
That looks scary.
It is pretty scary.
It
I
looks
like
it hits hard.
smoke. It hits really good. It's really good.
Now, how much was that piece? It was a couple $100.
$200.
See,
Yeah.
that's reasonable. That's reasonable.
It paranoids my guy out every time I pick it up because I'm kind of clumsy.
He's got it glued to the table.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but ever since I bought this, I don't know what it is, but ever since I bought this $100,000 glass pipe, I get anxiety every time I use it.
Right? Yeah, no, I can't. There's no way I could pay anything more than what we paid for this one, and that to me is still a lot. Because we've had it a while, so.
I mean, I'll pay for a utility. I'll pay if something's actually better. Like I paid, I paid more than that for my vaporizer, for my little Firefly. I don't use it all that often anymore, but at the time it was wonderful. I would recommend it to people who don't, like, they can't smoke or whatever. I totally recommend that, but I wouldn't recommend it to someone who doesn't have the money or can't afford it or whatever. No, because there's cheaper ways to do it. Like, you can get away with a glass pipe. You can get away with a joint. I mean, you don't have to feel bad if you don't have a fancy glass piece. You know what I mean?
Right?
You got fruit. You
can smoke out of a fucking fruit. That's right. Weed is amazing. You do not have to feel. Anyone who tells you have to be fancy and get a mothership, fuck off. You can have the wonderful experience smoking a dab out of an apple. So fuck off.
A dab out of an
I'm
apple?
gonna tell you.
We'll figure it out. Well, I mean,
One of my
let's be
best
honest. You can do it. You can just
I
get
know
a
you
nail.
smoke
So the
weed
bang
out
is
of an
going to
apple,
cost
but I haven't
25
tried.
bucks.
I have yet to. I'm a dabber. I'm a total
Let's
dabber.
try it. Dude.
All right,
That's
so
what
here's what you do. You're going to go down to the store and you're going to get that little glass tube that the crackheads
Right.
use to smoke crack with the rose in it. Take that. You're going to take an apple.
Or just
Get that apple. Shove that guy in one end of it, heat her up, and then just go to town with that.
Okay.
You don't even have to do that. Just get an old down stem.
And the more intricate you make that hole inside that fucking apple, just do like a little fucking.
I'm gonna have to come out and visit. We're gonna have an apple dab.
That's it. Johnny
An
Apple.
apple a day.
Speak of which, let's do one.
Shit, I just got fucking baked on that fucking pipe. Oh my god.
Gotcha.
Just trying to
Well, I get to go compete against Stabby, or not Stabby, but Stony.
Yeah.
Good luck, Vanessa.
So what category are you entering into?
It'll be the home growers. And I'm actually a judge for the pros. There's the pro entries and then the home growers.
That's rad.
Hell yeah. Let's see what they got for us.
Let us know, Tomas. I think that's going to be wonderful.
I
the
pray that an
fire.
organic solventless concentrate went to the cup over there.
Well, good luck, Tanasi. Well, good luck to everybody. Good luck to Stony. But I couldn't make it. Hopefully, make sure they're safe to the event.
Yep, they should be there right now at the, I'd say, the Airbnb. So I think, unless they got a late start, I haven't had contact with them yet today.
So who's gonna get way too high? Who's gonna get noob high, Tanasi? Do you know?
That'd be funny if somebody get me high. I've been trying to get high since 7 o'clock.
Challenge.
Maybe you're bouncing that high too hard.
Yeah, because I try every day.
Keep trying, man.
I just stopped trying for a few days. But yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
how about it?
no, another.
Next Sunday, y'all see?
Yeah, unless you, I mean, how does Saturday work for everybody? Does Saturday work better? We seem to have certainly scored more of an audience.
I'm down with Saturdays. We can make that work.
All right, we
Next
may.
Saturday, actually, I can't do next Saturday because I have my family reunion.
All right.
Okay.
Well, for the flip, we better keep it for next Sunday then.
Yeah,
And
we'll
then
just keep it flamboyant. Maybe we'll bounce back and forth depending on what's happening.
Sounds good. Yeah.
We're
All
testing
right,
the
then.
waters to see what day pulls the most people.
Yeah.
Check you later.
All right, everyone.
Holla back.
Good luck, Tanasi.
Everyone else.
Yeah. Good luck, Tanasi.
Thanks.
Good
Everybody
luck.
else taking part.
Have fun.
And we look forward to seeing the results.
Right on. Everybody have a good week.
Cheers, everyone.
Too.